happening, everybody? This is boy Ice Blue, chilling with the one and only Nick Love. Nick Love is kicking it with Grip Magazine. And for those that don't know, he is one of the pillars that made Atlanta the city that it is today. We'll go ahead and speak a little bit about some of your background. A lot of people don't know. Well, a lot of people do know. You were actually part of the machine that made Jeezy a superstar, as well as founder of the Coalition DJs, man. Let's talk a little bit about some of your background and how did you come involved with some of that stuff, man.
Oh man, I mean, I guess it started, I wanted to be an artist when I was younger, you know what I'm saying? I was coming up in the game. I'm born and raised in Atlanta. You know, I came up in the late 90s when, you know, Atlanta was first starting to kind of get recognized as a music powerhouse, you know, with Outkast and Goodie Mob, Dungeon Family, LaFace Records was here, So So Def, labels like that. And I just wanted to be in it, man. I just wanted to be a part of the mix, you know, part of the action. And, you know, came up as an artist. Ran into a guy by the name of Jason McPhee who put me on to marketing. I really wanted to get my music out, and he taught me marketing, and from there I never looked back, and ended up working with DJ Toomp, ended up working with DTP and Ludacris, the Backwoods over there with Dallas Austin. And then in 2002, 2003, I met Kinky B, who was Jeezy's business partner, and we took off from there, man, and we took that CTE thing and made a move.
Okay. How does it feel watching Atlanta being what it was and becoming what it is now, pretty much a music hub? And a lot of people don't see the underground, I shouldn't say the underground, but behind the scenes people that actually make that happen. We see the stars, we see the Outkast, we see the Jeezy, we see the T.I. Well, let's talk about the Nick Love.
Man, you know, being behind the scenes and really watching it kind of gives you a vantage point, you know, kind of a wide view, you know what I'm saying? I think a lot of times, you know, when you're in a mix, and I don't care if it's a personal situation or professional, you can only see what's right in front of you because you're going through it yourself. But when you're back behind the scenes, you can see the artists play, you can see the labels, you can see everything from behind, man. And I think it's, you know, it's really cool to see it from that angle. But it's hard work. I think a lot of people discount what it is because, especially, you know, people that are close to you. When you're behind the scenes, you're getting a lot of the perks of the artist, but people don't necessarily see the work that you do.
Right.
So you'll have a lot of friends, a lot of family members, you know, just outsiders. They're just like, man, every time I see you, you in the club. But you don't know I'm working. You know, I'm trying to get these DJs to play this record. Every time I see you, you on tour. It's like, yeah, but when I'm on tour, I'm ripping and running, trying to make sure that artist is taken care of, make sure that he's good, making sure the promo is up, and making sure the marketing is where it needs to be. So, you know, it's cool to see a Jeezy come up, but it's also, you know, cool to watch, you know, from T.I. to 2 Chainz to, you know, Quan, Thug, all of these guys, because I've seen all the changes of Atlanta. I've lived through the crunk era, the snap era, the trap era, the you know, the young LA, Dro, kind of J Money era.
What I love about the Atlanta music industry, where you see nowhere else but Atlanta, is young talent cannot have the chance of going from being a nobody to a superstar without having to leave their home and being on the radio.
Right.
Atlanta is the only place that actually facilitates that. How did you come about bringing a part of it, especially with the Coalition? And I'm not mistaken, were you one of the people that actually started breaking music in the strip club with DJs as a starting point?
Right.
Pretty much that's the start, and then to where you ended up.
Right. Well, it's a twofold answer to that. First of them is, you know, the strip clubs in Atlanta were always kind of a hub for where, you know, where all the hustlers hung out at. So when we started doing Jeezy was kind of groundbreaking from the standpoint of he only wanted to be where he wanted his music to be where he was comfortable. You know, and he hung out in strip clubs a lot. So he just wanted to be played where when he walked into his hangouts, he could hear himself. You know, he wasn't necessarily concerned with being played at some of the other spots around town because he didn't go there. He only wanted to be, you know, he wanted to be the man when he walked around. And so when we were constructing his plan, it was like, all right, cool. We know Jeezy going to Magic City tonight. We're going to get there early, work with the DJ. All right, we know Jeezy's going to Gentleman's Club. We're going to get, you know, make sure that he's there. You know, so all these spots that we knew he would hit, Jazzy T's, all the original strip clubs that were in town, we made sure we put his music there. And we didn't know at the time we were building a blueprint. We were just trying to keep our client happy. You know what I'm saying? We just wanted to make sure that he was good when he moved around, and it kind of became the blueprint for what it was. Because as the, you know, as the music is starting to grow and progress, more and more of the hustlers, the A&Rs, the label heads, the other DJs, everybody's coming into these spots to see what's going on. You know, there's beautiful women there, there's money being spent, and, you know, that's just kind of became the blueprint for how to break a record. The other side of that, when you mentioned how Atlanta is unique from other spots, that's something that the people here can't necessarily take credit for. A cool thing about Atlanta that a lot of people don't realize is the geography of where it sits. So Atlanta sits within 2 hours of Birmingham, Alabama, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Greenville, South Carolina. You know, you got Macon, Columbus, Augusta, all these other cities that are like right around here that our artists can break here in Atlanta and then shoot here and do shows, you know, within a 2-hour radius. And that helps the music spread. A lot of other cities are kind of landlocked to where they are. That's why a lot of times with Texas artists, they're stuck in Texas. You know, even with East Coast artists. East Coast artists used to have the same kind of thing. They had Philly and DC, and they had like, you know, that geography of where they were sitting at. But Atlanta was unique that we could hit basically 5 or 6 other states in a couple of hours, you know?
So a lot of street team promotions and stuff like that stuff. What are you? A lot of those were your ideas, and you're seeing other companies take from it and go further. How does that make you feel knowing that you are one of the people that put that in the game?
It's interesting, man. Like I said, I learned the game from a guy by the name of Tyrell Lewis. He went by Real. He had Real Street Promotions back in the day. So that was my guy. That was my mentor.
Okay.
But to be a part of that era is cool because you don't see that anymore. And so now when I see it, it looks real sloppy and it's real weak. I see posters just slapped on top of, you know, power poles and stop signs, and I'm like, that's so tacky. That's not how you do it. I almost want to get out and get back in my, you know, get back in that old grind mode of how I used to do it, man. But we wanted it to look sharp, we wanted it to look crisp, and we wanted to flood the streets. And that era, you don't see that anymore because now everybody's about flooding the internet.
Right.
So you don't see street teams no more. You don't see a lot of posters and flyers and sniping. You see mostly Instagram posts, Twitter posts, blog posts. But I'm proud to be from the era where I felt like we went out there and we sweated and we worked. And not to say that these young people don't work, because I don't want to be the old guy, get off my lawn guy. But you know, we had to really get out here and build relationships and get it out the mud. You know what I'm saying? We had to go actually interact with each other. We couldn't just email them a record. We couldn't just, you know, shoot them a link, you know what I'm saying, via social media. We had to actually get out here and interact and learn these people, learn the locations, learn the areas, learn the neighborhoods, so that we knew when to go, where to go, how to do it, who to deal with when we got there. Like, there's something to be said for that, man, and the amount of work and effort that went into that.
Okay. Do you think that strategy will work in 2017 with everything being online? And like, how do you promote your artists and actors that you work with now? Or do you think, would the street team stuff be viable, or has it all going online?
Well, I'll say this. I think that the street team stuff will absolutely work because no one else is doing it. So you'd actually be, you know, we came up in an era where everybody was doing it. So we just had to be the best at what we did. You know, I remember, for a couple of years of just dealing with CTE and doing the Snowman and Trap or Die movement, but also watching Grand Hustle with Young Dro's movement when he had his first album. There were certain artists out that around that time that had equal movements to us. A lot of the Florida cats, the people down the Slip and Slide, E-Class down in Miami, like those guys were serious when it came to street promotion. So we always had to step our game up to stay above par. But nowadays, if no one else is doing it, you can stand out by being the one person that's out there with a strong street team movement. So yeah, I do think it can work in 2017. The only problem that you have now is that the laws have changed. So a lot of the stuff that we could do back in the day, they changed the laws because of us.
Littering and stuff.
Yeah, they changed the laws because of us. Because there were so many posters up and the city would have to come and tear them down, throw them away, and it was becoming a nuisance to the city, which, we weren't trying to be nuisance, we were just trying to get attention.
Right.
But, the laws are kind of created in Atlanta and New York and different cities as such to prevent you or to deter you from doing that. So, I mean, I say try it, man. I think it's worth it.
Okay. Let's switch gears a little bit. I know you recently stepped down from the Coalition DJs, but they still are your family.
Absolutely.
What do you got going on now from that aspect?
Some everything, man. One thing I didn't do was step away from the DJ culture, in its entirety. I walked away from Coalition the end of 2015, and really I just wanted to spread my wings, you know what I'm saying? I felt like to a certain degree I was getting pigeonholed a little bit because my guys, we had built up such a strong name for being the strip club DJs who broke the hip hop records. Nothing wrong with that. Fantastic. We did this successfully for 7-8 years, under my watch. But there was a lot of opportunities that we missed out on because we were pigeonholed as the strip club guys. So when there was a new Beyonce record, when there was a new Sierra record, when there was a new Trey Songz or Chris Brown or somebody, we would miss those opportunities because those were considered R&B records. And they would say, oh, well, we can't give y'all that one because y'all only do Jeezy, Future, that type of stuff. And I was like, but one, I stepped out because my guys absolutely could have done those records as well. Two, kind of shedding that brand to a certain degree allowed people to just interact with me as Nick Love and not Nick Love of Exactly. So by still having them as fam, but also dealing with DJ Drama and Don Cannon and the Academy, and those guys are like kind of heavy as far as mixtapes and as far as radio, Sirius Satellite. They're here on terrestrial radio. They do mixtapes as well. Hood Rich, those guys in the streets, and they do traditional clubs. So, you know, and there's a lot of new DJs, up and coming young guys that aren't affiliated with anybody's crew.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That was an opportunity for me to deal with those guys as well, because I one of my favorite DJs is DJ Blackboy. DJ Blackboy is Playboy Cardi's DJ.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? He's super dope at what he does, but he wasn't with anybody. And, you know, I had the opportunity to go and kind of rock with those type of people because I was no longer Nick of the Coalition.
Okay.
So, you know, it was a blessing. I wouldn't say it was a curse. I hate to say that, but it was a blessing to be with Coalition, but there was some limitations to the brand. So I wanted to make sure that I was able to kind of hit everything and still bring stuff back to the fam if I could. Or if I couldn't, at least I could kind of spread the wealth and spread the love.
Okay. So what they said, what's the new company? Or is it a company or is it just Nick Love doing and people contact?
Well, my company is 157. 157 Unlimited actually stands for, you know, 1 city, 50 states, 7 continents. You know what I'm saying? Operating globally, you know, worldwide. That's something that I've always wanted to do. But I mean, really and truthfully, it's about pushing the Nick Love brand, to be honest with you. Like I said, you know, I do business under 157, but it's about me and bringing myself, you know, kind of out of the background and more so to the forefront. Like, I've done so much behind the scenes and I have built so many relationships. And what I noticed over the years is that my name and my reputation adds validity to a lot of new things.
Okay.
So a lot of people will call me and say, hey, I got an artist. And if Nick is standing next to it, it makes people look at the artist like, okay, it might be something.
Okay.
And once I kind of recognized that was, you know, my influence was really kind of nudging things along, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should use that in some other ways, you know what I'm saying? So I want to do more things from a political side. I want to do things from a, you know, from community side, but also stick with the music, but also have my food brand, The Bite Life. So, you know, I also do the food stuff. Food stuff is great.
Okay.
Food stuff is great, man. You know, trying to, you know, right now I just started out kind of just exposing, you know, my people to new restaurants around the city. But what I've gotten into lately, which is part of the kind of the political and the community stuff, is just really exposing people to black-owned restaurants.
Right.
There's a lot of really dope black-owned restaurants, man, and you know, black restaurants, black products, black-owned stuff just kind of gets a bad rap. You know, we do it to ourselves a lot of times. We always say, oh, man, messing with black folks, man. You know how they do, man. It's always this, it's always that. But, you know what I'm saying? There's some really, really exceptional black-owned businesses, black-owned restaurants, black-owned, you know, just dope spots around. Like, I was over at off Edgewood the other day. K. Michelle has a new spot off of Edgewood called Puffs and Petals. There's a restaurant I love up in Kennesaw called Capers. You know, my man Champ has Toppings over there off of Whitehall. Like, it's a lot of cool spots around the city that are black owned, that are doing good business, selling a good product, and you know, just they need that help, they need that support. So I really about you know, exposing people to those.
Like, for me personally, you are a marketing executive. Your resume is gonna look different from somebody in corporate America.
Absolutely.
But the same token, you do and can do the same job. My question with that is, with the Bite Life, have you ever thought about taking some of the marketing stuff that you excelled in and taking it to maybe like the food and beverage stuff and working with some of the entertainers that you got popping with? And stuff?
Absolutely, and that was another you know, piece of kind of, you know, moving away from Coalition.
Okay.
Because, you know, when, like you said, the resume is different, right? So when I go into certain arenas, and they say, okay, Nick Love, okay, cool, nice to meet you, and I kind of tell them what I want to do. They're always interested, but then they'll do the Google search, and they're like, oh, strip club guy, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Rappers, you know what I'm saying? Dealing with Jeezy, drug, you know, like they see, you know, a lot of people who are not from the culture, they attach a lot of negative connotations to what we do. So they don't see, you know, what the strip club breaking records is and what the service that it truly is. All they stop at strip club.
Right.
And they don't go beyond the surface of what that is.
Which is the limitation of it, because at the end of the day, forget looking at the strip club, looking at the money you generate.
Absolutely. You know, one of the best things that ever happened to us is that we were featured on the front page of the business section of the Wall Street Journal.
Okay.
And that made people take us extremely seriously, because now it was like, okay, cool, it's a business. It's not just some guys. We wasn't, you know, I brag about that a lot because we wasn't on the cover of, you know, some hip hop magazine or some hip hop blog. We was on the Wall Street Journal.
Right.
That makes people look at you completely different, and it made people who, like I said, who are not within the culture, look at me, look at Coalition, look at the business of what we were doing, instead of just stopping at strip club, DJs, hip hop. It was like, oh, okay, whatever this is, it must be a legitimate enough, strong enough, viable enough business that the Wall Street Journal took notice. So that helped out tremendously, and I said that's when I really was starting to say, I need to take that piece and expand on that and try to do more Wall Street Journal type, you know, endeavors you know, to try to bring in. Because at the end of the day, it's all about, to me, bringing it back to the culture.
Okay. And speaking of the culture, what's your latest endeavor, man? I understand you got some weekly stuff going on.
Yeah, you know, the newest thing I want to do back is I'm over at Escobar Lounge, 2 Changes restaurant over on Mondays. We do a thing called Make Show Mondays, but I'm really excited about that. And I didn't reinvent the wheel. There's nothing groundbreaking about it to me. But what it is kind of reintroducing the whole album release, mixtape release parties. Back when I was coming up in the music business, Tuesdays were huge because that was the day, that was the release day. So it was a club called Visions, and every Tuesday at Visions used to be the big album release party for whoever was out. And you know, over the years, hip hop, R&B, you know, urban music just kind of stopped putting out albums, or the labels stopped putting them out. So we just got away from that for years.
Okay.
But lately, you've seen a resurgence. Like the top 4 albums on the charts right now are all hip hop, you know, records. Right now with 21 Savage, Jay-Z. Who else is at the top of the charts right now? There's a couple of hip hop albums right now that everybody's really excited about. But I just want to bring that back, man. I want people to be excited about new music because at the end of the day, I want people to go support it.
Okay.
I'm very funny about that because I remember, you know, when I was in the music business coming up and I was working behind Jeezy. And like you said, people see the artist and people look at people like Jeezy, Jay-Z, Diddy, and people would say, and like I said, it's part of the culture, we do it to ourselves. They'll say, I ain't finna buy that man's album, he already rich. And I'm like, yeah, but you forget about the 20 people that man employs. We're not already rich.
Right,
so we need you to buy that album because we need to keep a job. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's so worried about, I don't want to support Puffy because Puffy got X amount of dollars, but I'm like, there's hundreds of people who work under Puffy that are they just have regular jobs just like you. And so when you don't buy that album, when you don't support Ciroc, when you don't support Avion, when you don't, you know, come out, you know, when you don't come to those shows because you think that guy's already rich, those other people are the people who sacrifice and who lose, you know what I'm saying? So I'm all about, hey, let's get back into streaming, buying albums, doing the things that kept this culture alive for a long time.
Speaking of that, before we wrap it up, any thoughts of maybe putting that information in the book? Because I say that because so many people think that the only way to be successful in the entertainment business is to be an artist. But your story is, I started out and I seen money with somewhere. I mean, there's so many out there. You could cut hair,
everything.
It's so many things.
It's funny you say that.
DJ,
I actually been working on a book for like 2 years called Shine in the Shadows.
Shine in the Shadows.
And basically, I want to do like a high school tour with it. Where I want to expose kids to like 30, 40 jobs behind the scenes that aren't the singer, that aren't the rapper. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know. When I was coming up, somebody had to tell me. And I had to figure out how to make the most of it. But like you said, you can be the barber, the personal trainer, the chef, the security guard, the DJ, the engineer. It's all these jobs behind the scenes that people may not know about necessarily, or that don't get as much credit as a publicist. You know, so many things that are behind the scenes that make an artist an artist. And I'm always very highly aware of it when I'm with a new artist and he has an entourage of 10, 15 guys with him. And everybody's either trying to be a rapper like the main guy, or they just hanging around. And I'm like, yo, you got 14 friends. They could all go do something that would bring value to the situation as opposed to just being hanger-ons. You know what I'm saying? You don't necessarily need 14 goons. You don't need 14 people in your entourage. Why don't you make that guy the road manager? Why don't you make that guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, give everybody a job, let them support themselves, and it becomes a system because those people later on will go on and employ other people. Or teach somebody after them, like, hey, well, this is what I do. I'm the PR. I do the PR for so and so. I'm the personal trainer for so and so. I'm the chef for so and so. I'm the A&R for so and so. These are jobs that don't get as much, you know, shine and notoriety as the main guy, but you get all the perks. You get to travel with them. You get to eat with them. You get to hang with them. You get to go. You know, you get to go to all the shows. You get to go backstage. It's like you're just not the guy, but that's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I just heard that Nick loves schooling us on music business 101.
Absolutely.
Other ways to get paid besides being on the stage and the mic, man. I definitely want to thank you for checking in with Grip, bro. Anything else you want to plug, man? Let people know to check you, where they can check you out during the week, man.
I'm on social media everywhere. Nick Love ATL, NICK-LOVE. That's my real name. Nicholas Love is my real name. So Nick Love ATL. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere, man. Just check me out, follow me, and you'll see everything I'm doing.
All right, tell us again about what's going on every Monday.
Every Monday. Make Show Mondays at Escobar Lounge, 2 Chainz restaurant, right off Peter Street here in the heart of ATL. And like I said, come see your favorite artists, man. We've had Rich Homie Quan, Scooter, we got Rollo coming, we got T.I. and Hustle Gang coming, Jeezy coming. You know, all the relationships that I got, we pulling them in, man, and we celebrating these guys and their accomplishments.
Y'all heard it here first on Grip, Ice Blue and Nick Love.